Hello, I'm Roger Bisbee from the Skill Builder channel, and I've got another little Ask Skill Builder. Well, actually, this one isn't an Ask Skill Builder. This was sent in by Damion, and he was saying that he'd been watching the videos on damp and rising damp and, the arguments over whether you should inject or not. And he was saying that in his particular case, this is what he found in his house. So we can see that what he did is he chopped out a couple of bricks here. This is the rubble that he took out, which was it was in the bottom of the cavity. So in other words, as the wall was being built, all this rubbish dropped down inside, bits of old brick and things. And some of that, to be fair, has also accumulated over the years. There would have been a bit of sand and lime there, and that's all been dropping down. So the idea is, what he's saying is that even if you'd put an injection in there to try and stop the damp, which was coming through on the inside, it's still going to penetrate because it's got a bridge straight across the cavity between the outer and the inner. And it's worth saying this, that if you've got a problem of damp and you can take out the old brick and just check that cavity is clear, it's a very good idea before you start down the road of getting any expensive treatments. And I've done this in the past where I've got a bit of an iron hook and gone along inside the cavity and just dragged all the debris out through a few brick holes, that you make, and then you put the bricks back afterwards. But you can clean the cavity and you can do an awful lot of good just by simply doing that. So great thing, Damion. Thanks for sending that in. It's a good point to make. What they do now, of course, is that you have 6 inches above the ground level at least, and then below the ground level you've got another couple of clear bricks, if you like. So you end up with something like 350 millimeters, say, of clear space below your damp proof course. And if the debris drops down, it tends to accumulate out of harm's way. In other words, a couple of bricks below the damp-proof course. So it's not such a bad problem. But of course, now we tend to build with cavity insulation as well. And that has kind of stopped a lot of that debris from dropping down. You put your bats in the cavity and then you bricklay and then just clear the pug off the top. So in some ways, this problem shouldn't be such a problem in new build, but you certainly do find it. I mean, my house goes back 120 years now, and it certainly suffered from this very problem. So thanks very much for sending that in, Damion. That's great. And if you've got anything that you'd like to add to the debate, interesting things like that, it doesn't all have to be about questions. You want to share a little bit of knowledge with us or something you've seen or you think is interesting, then by all means send it in. Rather than Ask Skill Builder, it could be Tell Skill Builder. Who knows? I'm Roger Bisbee. Come back to see us soon. And if you want to send anything in, here's the details on the screen of how to do it. Just go to our webpage. You can drop your pictures and your questions straight on there.